I'm Nicky Nicholls. I moved to Exmouth 20 years ago. A deliberate move. We looked at loads of places to decide where to live with a job relocation, and we came to Exmouth and just couldn't quite believe how amazing it was and that we didn't know it existed before. I've always worked in Exmouth in different community roles. My real passion has always been around climate and planet and sustainability. In 2019 that I really kind of got back into thinking about more around climate change and what I could do to make a difference, which is when I stood as chair for Transition Exmouth, which I've done for the last 4 years. More recently, the opportunity came up to work at Sideshore.
Tell us a bit about Sideshore Exmouth.
Sideshore's objectives, I think it's fair to say, have kind of changed and refined recently. About 3 years ago, the building started, and we have the amazing Sideshore building, which is one of the most commercial buildings in the southwest. It is here as a water sports centre, so we have tenants in the building, but alongside the building is a community interest company, which is not for profit, and that is the Queen's Drive Exmouth CIC. The CIC has quite a vision about environment sustainability, certainly around safeguarding the planet for future generations. So they were very keen to have somebody in post to work with the Exmouth community to develop big ideas and some small ideas. In essence, what Sideshore is about supporting people in Exmouth to live low carbon lives and to preserve our amazing natural environment.
Can you share with us some of the actions or projects through which you are helping Exmouth community?
Part of my job coming in here is to really listen to what people in the community want to do. There are some projects that are already running that we will continue to run, and people will have enjoyed Sideshore as a venue in the Exmouth Festival. That will continue this year. We will also be working with Plastic Free Exmouth on the one-day festival event, which will be on the 1st of June. Alongside that, I've been meeting with lots of different organisations in town, and we've been dreaming up some exciting ideas. A good example is Exmouth Wildlife Group. They're really keen to look at the botany on the Mare, which is a nature reserve and was last fully surveyed in 1988, and they have a full list of all the species that were there. We're going to work with them probably in June on a community day surveying all the species. The Mare is just behind Sideshore. I think it'd be really interesting to see if we've then seen species loss, habitat loss, or what's new, what's come in. I'm working very closely with the Town Council on lots of different initiatives. Our big one is the Exmouth Cup, which people may well have heard of. We're trying to talk about eradicating single-use takeaway cups in our town. We would love to be the first town in the UK that said we don't have single-use cups. We know that that is a massive issue when it comes to filling up our bins. The Exmouth Cup, you only have to use it 3 times to save carbon, and it can be used up to 1,000 times. And the idea is that nobody owns the Exmouth Cup, it lives in Exmouth, so they flow between the cafes, and as of today we have 24 cafes in Exmouth signed up to the scheme. And so people can just go along, ask for their takeaway coffee in an Exmouth Cup, go for your walk along the beach, and then give it back to another participating cafe. Lots of people have their own reusable cups. Most people will forget them and go, I haven't got my cup with me. But another barrier is if it's dirty, then what do you do with it? People then don't want to stick it back in their bag because you've got a mucky coffee cup. I think it's quite an innovative way of working, and we're modelling it on the Shrewsbury Cup, which has been a huge success. Zoe at the Town Council has had all sorts of people calling from different towns. Can you tell us about it? We want to have the Tiverton Cup or the Bridport Cup. So we're hoping to kind of lead the way. Sea Swim Safety Initiative with all Year 6 students in Exmouth. They will all be given an opportunity to learn how to safely swim in the sea. But we will also use the opportunity of having them here at Sideshore to do some education around beach environment and climate change. Working through into 2025, we're looking at launching a Sideshore Community Fund. So people might be aware that there is some money available for community use which comes in from the car park revenue. So I'm really keen to put together a very transparent way that local people with good ideas can apply to the fund.
What are your feelings about climate change?
I think my overwhelming feelings with climate change are, like most people, it's extreme frustration. I feel like I've been banging on about this for most of my adult life. And this unbelievable cognitive dissonance that humans seem to have, that we can know all of this stuff. We can see it on the news saying we're pushing to 3 degrees, we're warming, and then everyone just cracks on as though it's totally normal and life is okay. So there's this kind of overwhelming sense of dread and horror that the world's on fire and it's all going terribly wrong. But on the other hand, I do still have this massive optimism. I've done plenty of visioning workshops where people say, sit and think about what you would love your dream Exmouth to look like or your dream world to look like. And everybody always describes, we can hear the birds sing, we can see more bees, everybody has enough to eat. People are cycling and walking and happy. Nobody ever describes, I want to go in a more dirty car and I want to sit in traffic jams. No one ever describes the life we've got. I have a hope that people actually want that future, which is the low carbon future. They just don't know how to get there.
Where do you think there is space for improvement from the government or local authorities?
All levels have responsibility. I think the government are woefully inadequate in what they're doing. We saw in COVID what can happen if the government want to change things quickly. They can. There are other mechanisms to be able to change laws and to be able to make buses, trains free. There are so many solutions out there. Unless we've got a government who are pushing that as number one thing on their agenda and recognising that this is a looming crisis above all other crises that they think they're dealing with, until that happens, I remain really worried. I don't know another town council who've employed a climate change officer. That is pretty impressive, I think. And the Climate and Ecological Emergency Working Party, I sat on for a couple of years in the town council with my Transition Exmouth hat on, are great. They've got really good ideas. But they've got limited scope because we've got the other authorities above them. Devon County Council have an amazing carbon reduction plan. How does that play when you've got that interplay between national government and other local authorities? So I feel like we're in this kind of, everybody's got all these solutions, but we just need more action from everybody working together. With residents, I think people really feel that they're doing as much as they can do. And I think it is deeply frustrating as an individual to think, well, what more can I do? I don't have the money for a swanky new boiler or a flash electric car. What else can I do? It's really important that we help people feel empowered to have some solutions that are easy, that are more of an easy switch, and that help them see their part in that bigger structure.
If you were to make an appeal or to share a personal message toward the Exmouth residents on this issue of climate change and protecting the environment, what would you tell them?
Let's look at the opportunities and let's look at the hope and let's look at what we want the world to be. Why would that be a negative? Why do we want to be afraid of making our air cleaner and our seas not full of sewage? Why don't we want to really try and get to those solutions? And is it just because we've become too comfy and we've become too reliant on how we're currently living? The mental health crisis in our children, is that what we want to carry on? Do we want this, we're all just in this rat run, and is that actually what we want? Let's get together and dream about what that can look like and work out how to get to those solutions. I would encourage people to get involved and to find the bits that interest them. So some people might love to litter pick on a Sunday with plastic free on the beach. Some people might love to be part of the Swift group and to look at migrating birds. Other people might be really into biking, so they could join the active travel group. We've got people doing all these different things. So I say to people, find your thing, do your thing, and don't feel guilty that you can't do all the things.